So this is the the first session of Parayan. We've missed the pre-break session. It is the 22nd of July in United States, 23rd of the 23rd of August in India. The morning session, the Paryushan Parayan has begun. So for Akram Vignan Germany purposes, we are starting this Parayan Paryushan translations in English and live relay. This is the post-break session. We are waiting. We hear the sound, however, you're not hearing the video. Should be coming on pretty soon. This is the Paryushan Parayan of the 22nd of August 2014, the evening session there. So the Parayan has begun. Today is Friday morning. The first session has already begun. As we see our Gnani, we're doing the Parayan of Aptavani 7. It will take me a little while we get to the exact location of where we have been reading. I'm sorry, I'm using this Akram Vignan Germany channel. Let me use another channel, so I will get out of this, okay? So that Germany can use this channel. So now he says, let us read further. Oh, they're reading Aptavani 3. Because what was said and what was understood is the heading on page 9 in Gujarati. Every religion says, leave your religion and come to my religion. This I have to I'm having two channel sounds. I'm having two sounds. There's a sound of Dada Bhagwan Asim J.J. Karho as well as Deepak Bhai. Deepak Bhai says essentially they come into the religion of the self only. Come into the religion. Everybody believes that I am Akatya and this is my religion. Lord Krishna said, no, no, no. When you surrender you have to become the self and then say they come to the self, not to the but the religion of the senses is that I am doing this is I'm speaking, this is I'm doing this, etc. But no, the Lord uh, took Arjun away from the Dehadhyas, the sense that I am this body, and the religion of the senses into the religion of the self. Now, the next heading, the knowledge that is without illusion is worth knowing. You should get out of Srimad Rajchandra has said that the self-realized person, no matter what he reads, he will move in the direction of the self. Whereas the person who is not self-realized, even if he reads scriptures that are of the self, he will be misguided. That is what Lord Krupadev has said. Because we have realized the self, what we will have the awareness of the self because we are reading the scriptures that are of the self. I have continued to have Dada Bhagwan Asim Jijikar ho sound behind. What is the difference between pleasure and the bliss of the self? Nirakud Anand goes into the bliss of the self. Uh, if it if whatever touches the body is called shata ashata, in other words, either is cold or extremely hot, whereas but whatever the ego goes through, that is called pleasure. But with the right belief, in Nirakurta there is no uneasiness or easiness or comfort or discomfort. Discomfort is followed by comfort, whereas but with the right belief, uh, Nirakurta, there is a continuous bliss, and that bliss will continue to be there till the end. Why is it called Nirakurt Anand? Once the right belief gets established, the one who used to say that I am Chandu now says I am pure soul. So through the wrong belief, he was continuing to suffer, and once he got the right belief, What is the difference now between bliss and joy, pleasure? Initially, you will have the right approach towards pleasure. After the Gnanvidhi, there is you are move away from the pain that the body suffers, and subsequently you will have the right approach towards the bodily pleasure as well, the right vision. So now they are reading. Illusion itself is the Maya. It's just inability to know who, and so we are reading. Is Bhranti the same thing as Mayavad? Page 10. The illusion means imagining or projecting that which is not. Atmagnan is not an imaginary thing. Where Atmagnan is concerned, worlds will not work there. One has to have the experience. Self realization has to happen. The self is not like the self that has been written in the books. To know who am I is not a use or application of the words, but moksha means freedom in life. Whatever is happening is not. As soon as you realize who am I am not Katya, I'm pure soul, then your liberation is. One has to understand this. Who is under the illusion? As long as there is relationship, there is binding of karma. There is freedom from relationship upon coming into the self, Swarup. What is relationship? Name is a relationship. I am Katya, I am Pushpa, I am this woman's daughter. This is a relationship. Coming into the nature of the self, Swabhav, one is verily asang, unconnected, without company. One is verily nirlip, unanointed, unsmeared. One has been in an illusory state from countless lives. The self does not have any illusion. Human beings have the illusion. Vibhavik Gnan, knowledge of the non-self, arises due to certain causes and pressure of circumstances, and so man is not at fault. He appears to be at fault because of illusion, and through Gnan he is flawless or nirdosh. The Gnani sees the whole world as flawless. And so the original self is the real I, but then there is the middle I, which the one I with the right belief, and that keeps on increasing. The I am Ich bin reine Seele, that one keeps increasing, and then there is the Vibhavik I, which is that I am Katya, I am over, and that the self has been eternally separated from the non-self complex. And then it could be the mechanical self, or it could be the Vyavaharatma, or the worldly interacting self only. What is the difference, Brant and Vibrant? A technical term has been asked. It's one and the same thing. When you drink one bottle of wine, that's called Brant, and then if you drink 5 bottles of wine, that is called Vibrant, absolutely drunk. Vibrant. When you say Shuddhatma versus Vishuddhatma, absolutely pure self. So Brant, illusion multiplied by illusion is called Vibhavik. So totally, you see, when you don't know who I am, that means I am illusion self. When you tell your wife, I cannot live without you, and then 2 days later she dies, then what happened? Then she says, okay, let her go, she's gone, that is all. It is because a few causes arise is the question, and then there is pressure or circumstances that this happens. On the basis of circumstances, bhav arises because of circumstances. The self does not create bhav. A vibhav, that means I am Katya, the view, outlook and intent that I am Katya arises because of circumstances. The self does not create bhav or intention. It is due to circumstances that And due to the pressure of the circumstances, vibhav arises. Due to the pressure of circumstances, the sense that this is happening to me arises, and that is the reason why it happens. There is no doership here. It is happening because of the pressure of the circumstances, that is all. Yes, there is pressure of the circumstances for infinite lifetimes. The Lok Sangnya means people with ignorance. They give and spread ignorance only, whereas the Gnani who is awakened and aware spreads knowledge only. That is all. What happens to the pressure? What happens in the Gnanvidhi? Because through ignorance he received ignorance, and when he makes the Gnani, he receives Gnan. That is all. That is what happens in the Gnanvidhi. So through the Gnani, in the Gnan Vidhi, he receives Gnan, that is all. And the Gnani, therefore, Dada says you are separate from this. Yes, the one has Gnan, but one has had the Vibhavik Gnan, the Gnan that I am Kachya, I am Uve, and in the Gnan Vidhi, he receives the knowledge that I am. The Vyavahar Atma, the worldly interacting self has got infinite locations, whereas at infinite levels there is ignorance there. Because objects to be known are of infinite types, against them I am the one with infinite knowledge. You see, that is how it is. Because there every living being of this entire world has some knowledge that has arisen, and therefore this is infinite knowledge, you see. And in against them all that to be known, I am the one with the infinite knowledge. So now this Gnani Purush is indeed matchless, is we are reading now. Does Gnani mean a self-realized? Dada says, except for a Gnani, no other man is self-realized. It is not an easy thing to be an Atma Gnani, the knower of the self. There are many other different kinds of Gnanis. There are Gnanis of scriptures and many other things. After all, this is India. Common Gnan and additional Gnan. Questioner. There is a statement in Aptavani books of the Gnani that, which states that remain as ordinary and common, and remain in ordinary and common Gnan. Do not get into specific or Vishesh Gnan. Please explain that. Dadashri says, additional or specific Gnan goes into the category of intellect, and there is always the ego associated with intellect. Common Gnan means to continue to see the pure self, Shuddhatma in everyone. If you are walking in a forest, to see the pure self in every tree is called common Gnan. And to see in details like this is a lemon tree or this is a mango tree, it is called additional or specific Gnan. Common Gnan means use of darshan, vision of the self. What is the difference between additional Vishesh Gnan and Sanchit Gnan? The Dadashri says additional Gnan involves the use of intellect, and Chit, visual knowledge, is used in Sanchit Gnan. The intellect can sometimes be wrong. It says, I have seen this tree somewhere, but I have forgotten where. And thus it is churned. How to know the experienced one? We want to catch the self. We want to make all the efforts to do so. We have a great desire for it. So then why can we not catch it? And the Adashi says, it cannot be caught that way. Somebody is asking a question on Sanchit Gnan. And it means it remains in the stock. Sanchit means it remains in your visual stock. And therefore, whenever you really want to see something, you can pull it out from your visual stock. Dadashri, it cannot be caught that way. Not only the self, it has been understood that the realm of the self that eliminates the self and the non-self. So Prakash, Dadashri says, if someone picks your pocket or insults you, and even then rag dvesh does not happen, then know that as the experience of the realm of the self, that is the experience of the realm self. Deepak Bhai says that is what we want. We want this practical thing. Somebody, you have just been robbed, but it does not, you're not affected. For testing beyond this, if someone cuts off the hand or the ear, and even then Ragvesh does not happen, then know that the experience of the realm of the self is present. When the experience of the realm of, even if you cut your nose, forget, cutting the nose means your ego has been cut. That is, it says his nose was cut. Colloquially, it means your ego has been affected. So then, if your ego has been cut or put down, then you should not experience any kind of inner disturbance. This is we have the pratiti, we have the experience of the self, and we have the conviction. And now we have to move into the level of the Atmanubhav, the experience of the self, because we still have to go through the karma that are in front of us, and so our level of karma will increase, our level of experience will increase. When the experience of the realm of the self exists, there is only the nirlep bhav, nothing sticks or annoys. Being in the ocean, not a drop of water touches. How can one recognize? That is Deepak by describing that no matter what happens, you are untouched and unaffected. The question: how can one recognize a person with such an experience? Dadashri says, you will know that when you throw some insults at him. Would you not be able to tell whether he strikes back at you or not? Dadashri's questioner. Many people have a very calm disposition, so they can remain peaceful, can they not? Dadashri says, yes, one can remain calm. If he passes that test, then you have to try something else. When there is no ego or minus, there is swapar pakashak self. Where there is no ego or minus, there is the swapar prakashak self, the self that illuminates the self and the non-self. So the ego and the minus have to go. Yes. It may have come in talk, but after a while, when you check on it, then you will find that it has gone away. Anger, greed, deceit, pride are all gone in the state of the Gnan. Questioner: the one who has the experience of the realm of the self is considered a Gnani, is he not? Dadashri says, yes, he is indeed a Gnani. Questioner: such Gnanis are hidden. It is difficult to recognize them. Dadashri says, there is no Gnan in the one who is hidden. The Gnanis move around in the world, they can never remain hidden. Gnanis have a desire to impart the bliss they have attained, and therefore you will not see them hidden in the forest or in the jungle. Questioner: there may be Gnanis in this world, but people are not able to recognize them as Gnanis, are they? Dadashri says, one may not recognize the Gnani from his appearance, but one will definitely know him from his words. You can recognize the Gnani when you look into his eyes. Just as a police officer can recognize a rogue by looking into his eyes, you can recognize a vitarag from his eyes. Next heading. When experience happens, even during a stroke or a paralyzed state, when the bliss of the self does not vanish, then it is called experience of the self. During intense hunger within, a severe headache or severe external difficulties, when the inner shata or the bliss prevails, then that is called the experience of the self. Experience of the self, Atmanubhav, can turn even pain into pleasure, and for a mithyatvi, the one with the wrong belief, okay, so you could write, you see, even pain is converted into pleasure. And so it's because there is bliss inside, but the one with the bliss inside will look at pain, will convert pain into pleasure. And one can remain in the bliss of the self, and that is the sign of the Gnani. Whereas the one with the wrong belief will see pain even in pleasant circumstances. This is because of drashti-pher. His vision is in the wrong direction. He does not see things as they are. He sees just the opposite. Only the vision needs to be changed. Otherwise, even if you do hundreds of thousands of lifetimes of activity or kriya, your reward will only be a worldly life. The vision needs to change. The vision needs to change. That which has arisen through ignorance, agnan, needs to be destroyed through knowledge. Once the agitation of the questioner, when When can we say that the experience of self has happened? She's reading very fast, I'm afraid. Dadashri says, when the conviction, pratiti of the self happens, when one is convinced that I am pure soul and that the belief that I am Chandrulal turned out to be wrong, that is, when this is experienced, then know that the ignorance is gone. But we have the result of ignorance today in our current life through family and children, etc. But now through the vision of the five agnas, we can now tackle it. Then we know that the Vyavasit is the doer, this is relative, this is real, this is a file, and then we become free from it. When the conviction of the self happens, when one is convinced that I am pure soul and the belief I am Chandra turn out to be wrong, when this is experienced, then know that the ignorance is gone. The ignorance is gone for all of us. The old, and so in this way we will become free. If somebody says, Katya, they were saying they bad things about you, etc., but it's not. But somebody else tells you, no, they were not talking about Katya of Berlin, they were talking about Katya of Paris, then you will not be affected, would you not? But in the same way, you yourself can say, no, they're not talking about me, they're talking about this body complex only. I am not this body complex, and it is possible for us, we can do that. We ourselves can do the homework as we suffer through the effects in life. We can find out who is suffering, why is she suffering, whose account is it, who am I in this, who did it, and what is this. And at that time the experience, when you apply all the various levels of Gnan, the experience arises. This experience will let you rise higher into the state of the self. And so all of this suffering, all of this inner disturbance, the inner storm can be all settled through the knowledge of the five agnas and through the application of the five agnas, and all the storm will quieten and it will all cease. What do the Gnanis call the experience of the Self Atmanubhav? Whatever was seen till yesterday is gone, and what one sees something completely new. Yes, before he was seeing faults of other people, he did this, she did that, etc. But now we see the world as flawless, and we see the flaws of Katya, we see the flaws of Marion. Whatever was seen till yesterday is gone, and one sees something completely new. One was wandering for countless lives, and in that relative state, whatever was being seen is gone, and now the new real has begun to come into the vision, the inner vision of the self. That which was visible became non-visible, and that which was non-visible became visible. Nothing that is theoretical is considered an experience. It is considered an understanding. Practical is called an experience. The one who has a complete experience of the self is called a Gnani Purush. He can give a description of the whole universe. He can give you answers to all the questions, no matter what the topic. If someone asks questions about Khuda, God of Muslims, Christ, Krishna or Mahavir, the Gnani is able to answer them. Through this Akram Vignan, you too have attained the experience of the self. You have attained the self naturally, and therefore it will benefit you and you will progress further. You have to understand it through having as much acquaintance as possible with the Gnani Purush. You don't have to do anything, and in the Kramik path, it is only after one makes so much effort that he will begin to have an idea about the self, and that even it is very faint. However, he will never attain the awareness or the laksh of the self. He will have to keep the self in his awareness. Whereas in the Akram path, the self becomes your experience. You have the direct experience of the self. And that which verily presents is verily the Gnan. Dadashri is asking, awareness of the self remains for you, no? Yes, sir. How long does it last? Constantly. It has remained for the time you gave us the Gnan. Dadashri, without the experience of the self, that awareness can never be there. Does the awareness come the moment you wake up? Questioner, yes, immediately it happens, automatically. The moment I open my eyes, I am Shuddhatma is the first thing that comes in awareness. Dadashri, that is called Shakshatkar, the direct experience of the self. It presents. This is called Gnan. The Gnan which does not present as a direct experience is called Agnan. When it is so difficult to establish even the conviction of the self, where can we even begin to talk about the experience and the awareness? Pratiti of the self means the doubtless state, nishankta of the conviction that this verily is the self. We give you that conviction. That is why for you the mind, intellect, and ego become nishankt, without any doubt at all. The Gnan is that which presents during any circumstance and at any time. It will be present wherever you go, presenting. It gives all the solutions. This Gnan of ours is a Gnan that solves everything, Samadhan. It resolves any situation at any place and at any time. Such is this way science, Vignan. This Gnan will give you a resolution even when someone throws insults at you or picks your pocket. This Gnan alerts constantly from within. Questioner, I want the realization of this Gnan. What is the effect? What is it in effect, Dadashri? Not only the realization, but that which remains with you eternally is called Gnan. As Gnan, same light since time immemorial. Dushamkal or Susamkal, Kali Yuga and Satyug, different eras of the time cycle, they all change, but the Gnan has been the same since time immemorial. The Gnan of the Vitarag Lord is eternal. Gnan means light, and uh, without stumbling it will not happen, worries will not happen. This is the science of the Vitarags. The religions of the Jain, Vaishnava, etc. are all tools that lead to the Vitarag Gnan. Gnan must be attained from a Gnani. Only then it will be present at the right time. Falsehood cannot go on working. One has attained his own salvation and gives salvation to others as well, is a Gnani. There is no Siddhi without Atmagnan. All other practices are Hatha Yoga, attempts to unite with the self through the ego of obstinacy and insistence. With Hatha Yoga Gnan is not attained at any time. Experience of liberation is felt from the moment ignorance is gone. Ignorance leads to bondage. Ignorance of what? One is verily ignorant of oneself. Lord Krishna has called it Guhyatam Vignan, the deepest and the most secret science. When a person cannot understand when a person cannot understand at a gross level, how is he going to understand at the subtle and the subtler level? The one whose interaction, vyavahar, with the non-self complex comes to an end is considered to have attained the Nishank self. That is called the Kshayak Samkit of the Deepak Bhai, just repeating Kshayak Samkit of Lord Krishna. Only after beggary, all kinds of beggary leaves, that completely one will be able to see the world as it is. When the experience of the self happens, one becomes the Lord of the universe. Until then, one is called a devotee. And only after attaining the knowledge of the self, one is a god as well as a devotee. Then he worships his own self only. That is all. And now you have become a god through pratiti, and now you have to become a god through experience. That is all. Through pratiti means conviction. In Gnanvidhi, you have become a god through conviction, and then you will become a god through experience. When you say with the experience, with the exception of the pure experience of self, I do not want anything, then you will become a full god through the full experience of that. Now, Sat and Asat in Gnani's language. Somebody is asking a question. I continue to hear, I don't know about you, but I continue to hear that Bhagwan saying Jijikar in the back. Only the Gnani Purush has the distinction between what is Sat, Gnan, and Asat, ignorance. The world believes in Asat to be the Sat. To know that this is how this Sat is, and this is how the Asat is, called Samyak Darshan, or right vision. Many people believe the gross and the tangible Asat to be Sat. Many believe the subtler Asat to be the Sat, and many believe the subtlest Asat to be Sat. The one who knows Asat completely is the one who knows Sat. If one knows Agnan, ignorance, completely, then on the other side of that is the complete Gnan. If you know how to see the tiny grit in wheat, a tiny piece of stone in wheat, then you will know what the wheat grains. All situations, avasthas, are asat. They are destructible. The self is sat, the eternal. The eternal does not have to worry about the perishable. Avastha is situations and circumstances. I am the Katya, this is a girl, she's living here, this is her situation, etc. are all asat. Whatever is experienced through the five senses is all asat. And then it is experienced through the intellect, it is at the subtle level, it is experienced, it is all asat. And some people say that doing good things is sat, and that also is all an intellectual knowledge only, and that is also asat at the subtle level. And then you have to go beyond that also, and then you have to go to the subtler level. There is, you see, anger, pride, deceit, and greed have all suppressed. But you say, but you see, but if the kashayas are suppressed only, so they're still at the subtler level. I don't want anything. I want the self. That is at the subtler level, asat. You see, and then he says, I'm very humble person. Who are you, Chandulal? So that is also subtler asat only. At the subtler level, there is the tendency to become tanmayakar or become uva. And then when you are beyond all the gross, the subtle, and the subtlest level, that you come into the S capital Self as exactly. Whereas in Kramik Marg, in the Kramik path, at the 11th spiritual state is such that he appears like a god only, but that is but but at the subtler but he is at the subtler asat only level only, because he can still fall. So infinite lifetimes you have climbed these staircases over and over again, the spiritual class staircases, and again you fall. When you pass sexuality, you have crossed the ninth spiritual stage. Uh, when you pass greed, then you get into the 10th, 11th spiritual state. But you see, this is my ability, etc. My goodness, my good abilities, etc. are all destructible situations only. It has got nothing to do with Sat, S-A-T, the self, and that is what is being described here. Heading: Who got the experience of the self? Who gets the experience of self? Who experiences the self? Somebody says, also, the one who knows it all as asat, non-self, knows the self, has known the self. And so for Mahatmas have gone beyond Sukshmatam also, right? The subtlest level, yes. It is Mahatma, beyond the Sukshmatam, the Mahatma is into the awakened aware self. And that awakened aware self, the more you settle the files with equanimity, and the more you become free from any sense of residual minus in the discharge, you become aware of the S capital Self in the experience. Once. The question is 11th spiritual state. No, through the self we are in 12th, but through worldly interaction we are in the 6th spiritual stage in the Gnanvidhi. We do not have to lift Katya up, we just need to be in the awareness of the self also. So our spiritual stages, the 14 spiritual stages, are not on the step-by-step path. They are purely through the awareness of the five agnas only. We only through the five agnas we are climbing these. What is it that we will? Yes, we will. In the 11th spiritual stage also, and the dangers of the 11th spiritual stage will not touch us, because we have attained the absolute nishank, doubtless state. But if you remain in your doubtless state of the self, then you will not be disturbed. But the sense that I know something, I'm better, you see. But when you cannot have it your way, when somebody accuses you, you get upset. Somebody finds faults with you, you get upset. Then when you react, all of these things are part of the disturbances of the 11th spiritual stage. At that time, no matter what happens, we need to remain extremely aware, even at the subtler level, that no, this is happening to Katyat, and I am not going to get involved in it at all. This is not my state. We have attained moksha without really settling our files of karma, and therefore, so If so, if somebody is taking away that which does not belong to us, why should we be affected? Why should we be complaining? And so once we find out the mistake of Katya for once, then we do not enter into it again. That is all. But we are lazy in doing samayiks, we are lazy in reading Dada, we do not pay attention to this magnificent, beautiful science awareness. But nonetheless, one day we will definitely win. And if you attend such, if you get this kind of Parayan Shibir for 8 days, you will get tremendous inner energies. And again, you will get tremendously charged and boosted up. Well, because we have not finished or discharged this karma, that is why this the experience is lacking. We must have a very intense desire to be the devotee of this science only, and the Gnani, words of the Gnani. Who got the experience of the self is the heading question, and who gets the experience of the self? Who experiences the self? And the answer is. And these are fantastic questions, Deepak Bhai says, and therefore Dada has given such beautiful answers that are there. Now, the Dadashri says the self verily experienced that. The small self, the illusion that had existed out of ignorance goes away, and the astitva, the existence, comes back into its right location. I get rid of the awareness of I am Chandubai, I am Katya in the one who had that awareness, and that verily is the one who attains the awareness of Ish bin Rayanasile, I am pure soul, Shuddhatma, the subtlest ego, Sukshmatam ego, which cannot be photographed, which is like space, it is the one that gets the experience of I am Shuddhatma. One gets the gross ego of I am Chandubai. Once the gross ego I am Chandubai leaves, then beyond that there remains a subtle Sukshma ego, the subtler Sukshmatar, and the subtlest Sukshmatam ego. The Sukshmatam ego gets the experience I am Shuddhatma. That ego was the one that was headed in the wrong direction. It has now turned around. After attaining the Gnan, you still have the gross ego, which is lifeless or nirjeev. The living ego, sajeev part, has been pulled away. It is possible to take a picture of the gross ego. That then remains the subtler, and the subtlest ego, the one that gets the experience. What is this like? While talking, dozing happens. Now, who is dozing off and who knows this? It is like that. You see? You see your knowledge spread out into the world 100 feet, 1000 feet, a mile outside. Now the inner suction pump has started and it is being full inside. Your intellectual knowledge spread in a million different directions, and through Gnan the internal suction pump has started, so you are now withdrawing inside into the knowledge of the self. Even as, and this at the subtlest level, this womanness, the I-ness, the myness, I'm something, etc. Is I am a husband, I'm the wife, I'm the lady of the home, etc. And the sense of the I-ness, this is at the subtlest level, subtler level, you see, sukshmatar level. So all of these things, the wanting to have it my way, that is at the subtler level. At the gross level, many Mahatmas have become free, and at the subtle level are the Kashais, and at the subtler level are the willfulness, the I'm a woman, I'm a man sense. So there is a knower at the gross level, there is a knower at the subtle level, there is a knower at the subtler level too. And so the difficult situations in life are such that it will create bitter results, but it helps us move into the nature of our own self, and therefore helps us go higher in our awareness. But if it is pleasant, then the veil will come over you. Therefore, when difficult situations arise, it is easy and good to be in the as the self only. And and therefore you can separate. When difficult times come, it is very easy to become separate from Katya and move in the direction of the self only. And degrees by degrees, the experience of the self will increase. When I am Chandubai, is it not called the subtlest ego? Yes, that is the one who gets the three levels of experience. The one who is to say that I am ego, I am Chandubai, is the one who gets the pratiti, the conviction, and then 15% awareness, 100% conviction, and 2% experience of the soul. And in that experience, because it is come into the experience at the 2% level, that is why he is on the solid foundation of the Anubhav Laksh Pratiti, or the conviction, awareness, and experience. Yes, so the whatever interest you have at the gross level in worldly affairs is slowly being withdrawn inside, and and if the pleasure senses increase or decrease, then he doesn't mind it. But if the ego is hurt, he is upset, and that is at the subtle level he is complaining. And so, but the physical part is, if the food is not very tasty, he remains equanimous. But when his ego is disturbed, that is the subtle part, then he gets upset, because anger, greed, deceit, and pride then get stirred up, and because these are all gross, it's initially, but then slowly they rise inside anger, but he converts it through his knowledge, and then slowly it becomes from hard material it becomes soft. And this because it is at the subtler level, the experience that has happened, that is why it starts coming into, and it will from the deepest level the experience. Some people, if get upset that if you touch my car, they will get very upset. You touch my car, don't touch my car, don't touch my scooter. So that his gross ego has extended out from his body into his car only, and he thinks, why did you touch my thing? You're not supposed to touch my thing. Don't touch my violin, don't touch my cello. You see, so now from there you come all the way to the sukshmatar level. At the sukshmatar level is the potapanu, the I-ness, the sense that I am brilliant, I am something, I know something, etc. Is this the way that the growth start? Does everything start? Yes, it is naturally, it's happening at all levels. We have had the 5 levels. When you stop hurting other people, he returns back. And then when he stops suffering because of other people's pain, that's level 2. And then that yes. And but then in the third, number 3. So when he's so when his conduct is such that he does not harm anyone, then his suffering also stops. And that is, and then the 4th level is where he is the level of the pleasure. You see, where he finds he has come into from the sukshma to the sukshmata level. So he does not find even the pleasant very pleasant. You see, so there are 5 levels. You see. And we are trying to cut down the I-ness and the sukshmata and potapanu, but we are still continuing to be disturbed. We disturb others through our conduct. We do get kashai reactions. We do feel hurt that other people cause us, and we do continue to hurt. So level 1 is where we hurt other people. Level 2 where we feel the hurt. Level 3 we have the subtle inner reactions where and it's not in our conduct yet. Level 4 is where we still become absorbed in the pleasures. Level 5 is of the gnata drashta, you see, pure. So, but you see, the person is turning around. That is the important thing, from the gross kashais, the visible kashais, into the kashais that are being converted inside. So externally it is not evident or hurting anybody. There are different levels of circumstances arising, no? The one with the knot of pride, he is at the superficial level, whereas but but if he does not have any, depending on the nature of the tuber, the tuber of pride versus tuber of sexuality. The tuber of pride may be very high at the gross level, or at the sexuality level he may be at the 0 level, you see, or he may be very little level, or whereas so at the subtlest level, if he is a pure vegetarian, he is pure at the subtlest level also. So it depends on different levels, you see, of different. But eating food is not a kashai. Deepak Bhai just called it kashai, but the 5 levels and 4 steps are the best things that we have received. The 4 steps are, at the level of the nature of the fault, that this is wrong, in what way is wrong, when it happens, do pratikraman, and number 4, do not protect the fault, and number 3, do the pratyakyan with it too. So when nobody is disturbing you, you can be remain the knower and the seer. However, when the disturbance happens and you remain the knower seer, then you know that the Gnan is working within you. And so we know that all of these 5 levels become to Ketan, belongs to Katya. All the 5 levels belong to Katya. I am pure soul only, Ishvin I need to remain in the 5 agnas, the Gnani Purush. Forget about the 5 levels. These are all relative level 5 levels. These 5 levels have been created within the non-self complex of Kashais only, and the Kashai reactions. And the 4 steps also belong within the non-self complex that is subject to Kashais. You see? Sukshmatam is Sanjavlan. Sanjavlan mistakes means it's like drawing a line in water only, whereas gross means it's a line in rock. You see, so this is we have discussed this. That is when you become free from greed, then you have just passed the 10th spiritual level only. And the spiritual levels, Deepak Bhai have said that is for us, for the Kramic path, whereas for us, it is only the awareness of the 5 agnas that makes us see all of this as it is. So 5 agnas is the most important thing. The 5 agnas, double A, double B, and double A, double B, adjust everywhere, avoid clashes. The fault is of the sufferer, and whatever has happened is justice. 5 agnas and the awareness is all those things. Now, can the self be known through the process of thinking? We are reading questionnaire. The Dadashri says, knowledge through thought, vichar is very heavily veiled knowledge. It is relative knowledge. Real Gnan is nirvichar, beyond thought state, where one is absolutely separate from thoughts. The state of nirvichar is the absolute state of Gnan. You see? Now, Jene tene potane ene, that means the one, the hui, the potane ene, that is the one touches the middle one, the one. Knowledge, the knowledge through thought is very heavy, whereas nirvichar state is this absolute state of the Gnan. In searching, even thinking is veiled knowledge. It is actually nothing but vibrations in the mind. Whatever milepost he was standing in the last life, I want this is how I would like to have it. And then that knowledge, then the mind gets bound, and then that was the mind in ignorance, and that mind unveils in this life, and therefore the thoughts arise, and then the intellect also arises. And so therefore mind is the veiled knowledge only. But if today somebody changes his knowledge, then he becomes free from the knowledge of the mind, which is thoughts, and arise and comes into the knowledge of the self. And so then when one enters the knowledge of the Gnani, then one really moves forward. The Krupadudev has said that if you think, then you will know. But you should have the thoughts that are given by the Gnani, not by your own independent thoughts. Okay. In searching for okay, I'm just going to get a glass of water, please. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back now. I'm back. Sorry about that. Even there is no ownership of the speech also. There is no ownership of the body also. That is the state of the Gnani. That is where we need to go. We have that state of the Gnani through the conviction, but we need to move into the level of the experience. The desireless state, when you become totally desireless, then you can see it as it is, you see. He's now, Sanjay is reading from somewhere else in Aptavani 3 only. If you can see the thoughts, then you are in this thoughtless state. Katya is having thoughts, and if you can see the thoughts of Katyas, you are in the thoughtless state. You see? But it is the ego that loves to think. You see, I like to think, and then the ego becomes absorbed in the thoughts, and therefore the desire arises. You see, the desire, the beggary arises, beggary. And then some desires arise that that I would want to enjoy another body too. I want to enjoy another body too, sexuality. But you see, the desires that do not hurt the body, those are okay. But those desires that hurt the self in the path of progress towards liberation, those are not good. Do I have to negate those thoughts? No, 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 no. You just need to know them. That is all. You just need to know them. That is. But only those thoughts that hurt others make Sanjay do pratikraman, make Katya do pratikraman. That is all. So we are resetting the Vignan only, the science only. In searching for God, reading, through thinking, you are still at the gross level. Thereafter, when you go into the subtler and the subtlest level, you will see the Lord. Thought will take you towards that direction. Thoughts and words are associated with a veil. As long as there is a word, there is a veil. Where no word can reach, where thought cannot reach, there sits the Lord. Jesus. With this, what kind of thoughts lead you towards the Lord? When you are reading scriptures, those words that lead towards the self, they are good. But the worldly thoughts, thoughts that lead you toward the words. Manan means what is this? What is this? To think about what is this? What is this? And that means constantly you are wondering what the self is all about. What is the self is? But called Gnan Akshipvant. Gnanakshipvant, which are thoughts which lead to the self. that is what the people on the Kramik path do. Questioner: when we separate the self, Atma, does its origin not come from thoughts? Dadashri, thought is a very different thing. The self is completely separate from them. However, because of illusion, one feels that I am thinking. That link of illusion must be broken. Once the belief of illusion that I am Chandubai, I am Uve is destroyed, then the problem is solved. Question: does the state of the self remain constantly, or is it short-lived like a thought? Dadashri: that which is short-lived cannot be called the self. Only when the self remains constantly can we say that the self has been attained. I am thinking, that means when you say I am thinking, when you do not like the thoughts, then you say, when good thoughts do not come, that means you remain separate from Radhika, or you say remain separate from Katya. But when pleasant thought comes, you become absorbed in it. But you need to be in the awareness of the self that it is, the thoughts are coming to Radhika, they are coming to Katya, they are not coming to you. Questioner: we constantly have thoughts about the worldly life. The Dadashri says, if you want to forget this world even for a second, it is not possible. Only when Gnan happens, G capital, the world falls into oblivion, constant samadhi, state of being unaffected despite all external and internal turmoil remains. This talk is beyond the sun and the moon. That is where we, the Gnanis, sun means the intellect and moon means the mind. The self is beyond these two. It is on the top. Question: is the self not an imagination of the mind? The other says, no matter how much you imagine about the mind, it will not help. The self is nirvikalpi, egoless. An imagination of the mind is vikalpi, ego-mediated. I am Uve, I am Katya. Questioner: can the self be known through the process of the recollection in the mind, Manosmriti? Dadashri says, this is something beyond that. No man can know the self through his own efforts. A Vikalpi with ego can never become Nirvikalpi, egoless. Only a Gnani Purush who has attained the nirvikalp, egoless state can help others reach that state. The self is not in the form of mind, not in the form of intellect, chit or ego or words. It is not in the form of thoughts. It is nirvichar, beyond thoughts. The Atma, tremendous is its state. He who has known the self knows everything, says Srimad Rajchandra. Every scripture of the world has been written only to know the self. If there is anything in this world worth knowing, it is verily the self. Know the knower, Jananaro. One has experienced life even as an Indra, and the king of the celestial beings, and Mahendra, the status of the highest of the celestial being, and yet he is wandering from one birth to another, has not ceased. Except for the pure self, everything is Paramanu, subatomic particle. They are physical and they are trapped within them lies God, the self. Does the self have a natural state, Swarup? Whatever is there as Vastu Swarup, eternal elemental state, has a natural state for sure, says Dada. The self too is a Vastu and it has a natural state. In fact, it is in its state is magnificent and that only and verily has to be known. That which has the Swarup, natural state of Gnan, Darshan, Charitra, and whose natural Swabhav, his eternal bliss, is verily the one to be known. As long as you have some value for the world and worldly things, then you will not have the perfect value for the S capital self, you see. You need to devalue the world in order to really value the self as capital. The self is not like that, not at all. The self verily is Paramatma, the absolute self. Nothing in this world compares. Dada. There are new people had come, so all of a sudden Dada was going so deep, and then all of a sudden, they started. So the link is broken here in terms of what 1975-76 Aptavani 3 came about, maybe 78, 77 or 78, whatever matter, this book came out. And then what was being read, this is the trailer, and then in the 14, the full thing is on Aptavani 14th. This can be considered the trailer of the movie. What we are seeing now, it is fully shown in Aptavani 14. Pardon me, excuse me. Somebody is asking a question now. However, even the Jad, the non-self, is so much energy that it has obstructed the Lord, the self. And that has got Dravya, Gun and Priya, matter, qualities and phases. Vastu means it has to be eternal. Avastu means that which has got no permanent existence. All the temporary things are called avastu. Ego, anger, greed, deceit, pride are avastu, non-self. They are really not truly existence. They are all imaginations only. All kashais are imaginations only. Whereas the self is vastu, and the nature, it has got its nature. Then it has dravya, it has its matter. Then it has got its guna, it has got its qualities. And paryay, it has its phases. It has Gnan, Darshan, Charitra. These can be experienced. Knowledge can be experienced. Vision can be experienced. And then Charitra, the conduct as the self, can be experienced, you see. Are you not having bliss as you are reading these very beautiful books of Dada? And this, whenever you talk about the self, you are getting into it, you know. Atma means we ourselves only, nobody else. And so we are talking about our own selves only right now, and we are moving forward. Are we really like this? We are the absolutely unaffected self. And so, a little child, when he grows up in a rich family, his father says, this is ours, this is ours. So he says, oh, this is mine, this is mine. The child says, oh, this is mine. In the same way, Dada is showing our true property. Our true property is this entire universe. And we have a beautiful vision of all the people in the Parayan here. Darshan. What? The people of the world have not been even able to even experience the shadow, and we have experienced the real thing. The real thing. The people of the world have not even experienced the shadow of the self, and we are experiencing the real thing. And that these are also no. For Dadashri calls profit as awareness, and kashais as loss. The terminology of profit and loss of the Gnani is amazing. Profit for the Gnani is the awareness of the self. Is called profit, and anything else, any kashai is called a loss. Whereas the profit and loss of the Agnani, of the worldly people, is money is profit, loss of money is loss. You see, pleasure is profit, pain is loss. You see, that's wrong. But the Gnani touches the original self, and he, keeping the original self in the target only, gives it back to the world. So that this is tremendous merit karma of the Gnani, and because we have this, and Niruma's tremendous work of Niruma that we have, and so she put it all together, and now we are able to take it out and give it to everyone. Niruma has finished all the 14 Aptavanis of Dadashri. We would love to have the Parayan of all the 14 books, Deepak Bhai. Let us, so that we can go into it as it is. We would love to finish the Parayan of all the 14 books. Yes, Deepak Bhai says it will happen. It will for surely happen. The question? Atma is nirvikalpi. Say that means we cannot imagine even. No, nirvikalpi. No. Nirvikalpi means yes, it is. You cannot have a comparison with it. It is matchless. You cannot compare it with anything. Nobody can give any adjectives to it. Nobody can give it any special titles to it. Vikalp means I am. Arkachya is Vikalp, and this is my home. That is called Sankalp. Whereas I am pure soul is Nirvikalp. But Pragna used the wrong word for Vikalpi as imagination, but Deepak Bhai is correcting her, saying that Vikalp means I am Kachya and I am pure soul means Nirvikalp. Kalpana means imagination, and Atma is beyond imagination is not the exact approach here, but Atma is Nirvikalpi means Atma is not there wherever there is any sense of I am Kachya, I am Marion, I am Nada. So it is on through the nimit only that all of this talk has come out. And by listening to all the various aspects of it, then we can catch the exactness of what the Gnani is trying to tell us. Okay, I think he's now going to put the, let's take a break now. So there is a break. So there's an evening session. There's a little break is being taken now in the Parayan. This is the second break of the morning session of the Paryushan Parayan on Aptavani 3 that is going on. It is about 7:40 a.m. in New York time here in the United States, and this is the live voiceover relay for Akram Vignan Germany. And so we are now in the break session. Please know that the beginning of this Paryushan Parayan session, the first half of this morning session for India, this morning session for the United States and evening session for the first half of the first day, evening session was missed because Shuddha was sleeping, and I got a call from Uwe, thankfully reminding me. And so we are now in the break session. So now Shuddha is back in Florida and will be giving the full Parayan, the full details, full attention. My highest namaskars to all the Mahatmas who are in this satsang. I had forgotten with Uwe to check with Uwe whether I should be streaming on Akram Vignan Live, Germany, or versus Shuddha's own channel. But I will check and find out. Now, so we have a pad or a song, a spiritual song. Let me see if Uwe has answered my Skype question. And he has. Do I use Akram Vignan Germany channel? And Uwe is saying, stay there, that'd be good. Uwe was writing there because this morning, Saturday from the morning in Germany. Okay, alright, not a problem. Okay, Uwe, so I'm with you now on this one. My Dada is coming, my Dada is coming. Alright, so. For those of you who wish to know where the Aptavani 3 in English is, it is at dadashri.org. If you just say AV3, small a, small v3, .pdf, dadashri.org/av3.pdf. And the German translation of Aptavani 3 is also available. If you send an email to Uwe or Katya or Nada or Rudiger, you will get it. Or also if you go on the dadabhagwan.de site, you will have it. So Aptavani 3 in English has been available for some time now. And we just stopped on page 51. And we will next. So the tonight, that means tomorrow morning session after 12 hours, we'll be resuming worldly life, circumstances in the path of evolution on page 52. And Aptavani. This Aptavani 3 has been available as a separate book in English since 1995. It's in two parts. The second part of Aptavani 3 is called Life Without Conflict. And as of January 2013, a number of these Aptavanis are available. Now, this Aptavani was Aptavani 3 of Dadashri in English has been available on the web at Dadashri website since January 2013. And here we are in August of 2014. We've had plenty of time for people to read it. Again, in this book, as you read it, the Y capital is for the awakened self, the small y is for the worldly self. And
समझावे मन भावे રામ ભાવે નિકાલ કરાવે. અરે આટીઓને અથડામણ બાજુ કરાવે છે. સત્સંગ શિબિર કેરા એ રંગ જમાવે છે. મારા દાદા આવે છે, દાદાજી આવે છે. મારા દાદા આવે છે, દાદાજી આવે છે. આજ્ઞા પાંચમી સમજાવે મન ભાવે. આ શુદ્ધાત્માનો ચોપડો એ લખાવે. આજ્ઞા પાંચમી સમજાવે મન ભાવે. આ શુદ્ધાત્માનો ચોપડો એ લખાવે. અને સત્સંગથી રકમને એ જમા કરાવે છે. શિબિરથી લોટરીને એ જમા કરાવે છે. જાત્રાથી જેકપોટને એ જમા કરાવે છે. સત્સંગ શિબિર કેરા એ રંગ જમાવે છે. મારા દાદા આવે છે, દાદાજી આવે છે. મારા દાદા આવે છે, દાદાજી આવે છે. હાલો ને જોવા જઈએ, ભૂલ ગઈએ એના દર્શનથી પતિત પાવન થઈએ. હાલો ને જોવા જઈએ, ગુણ ગઈએ એના દર્શનથી પતિત પાવન થઈએ. દાદા આવે છે, દાદાજી આવે છે. જ્ઞાની કેરી કૃપા વરસી આત્મ જાગ્યો. જ્ઞાની કેરી કૃપા વરસી આત્મ જાગ્યો. ટંકો જ્ઞાની કેરી કૃપા વરસી આત્મ જાગ્યો. અંતર ઉભરાયો ને અમીરસ રેડ્યો. અંતર ઉભરાયો ને અમીરસ રેડ્યો. ભાવિકો અંદરનો દાદે સ્વાનંદે ભર્યો. दीपो अंदर नादा दे स्वानंदे भरा मानो आगलो दादा चरणों कृपा बरसीने आत्म जाग्यो ज्ञानी तेरी कृपा बरसीने आत्म जाग्यो आत्म नजराने अंतर आनंद रेयो आत्म नजराने अंतर आनंद रेयो प्रज्ञा प्रगटीने माही चेतक भायो प्रज्ञा प्रगटीने माही चेतक भायो आज्ञाधारी जीवन मोक्ष पंथे जायो कृपा वरसीने आत्म जाग्यो ज्ञानी तेरी कृपा वरसीने आत्म जाग्यो विदेह ना पथरा डोंगरा रे डोंगरा विदेह ना पथरा डोंगरा रे डोंगरा सिमंदर स्वामी संगे संबंध साधा मोक्षे जावा महिमा दादा झंखे रहो कृपा वरसीने आत्म जाग्यो ज्ञानी तेरी कृपा वरसीने आत्म जाग्यो तंकों कीण दादे आँखों माजो कृपा वरसीने आत्म जाग्यो ज्ञानी तेरी कृपा वरसीने आत्म जाग्यो आत्म जाग्यो कृपा वरसीने आत्म जाग्यो
Okay, so we have the sound. Am I getting a picture in a picture for? Let's find out. Some just announce some announcements being made now. And we have our Gnani taking questions now. This is the first session of Paryushan Parayan. First question from Akshesh. Please stand up and wave your hand so we can give you a microphone. Jai Sachidanand. I had written is the worldly situations are fractured. The situations of worldly life get destroyed through five agnas. The five agnas is such that the awareness automatically breaks all the worldly bondage. The worldly bondage of worldly situations is broken through the five agnas. If you apply the five agnas, then you're free from it. And if you do, but if you protect it through this is mine, this is happening to me, then they will continue to linger on. What is the state? Well, if it is sticky, if it hurts others, then you know that it is very sticky. And if it does not make you suffer or other people suffer, then you know that those worldly situations are light. They're not as sticky. Is it possible to decrease will the in ignorance? In with knowledge, the prakriti will not change. You see that you see that which felt like bitter and poisonous is no longer felt bitter and poisonous, and then the bitterness will go away to zero. No matter that which was 100% bitter before can become zero through the awareness of the self. If supposing the prakriti is such that one is constantly mobile and very cannot sit still, will it go away? No, that nature will continue. However, the 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 inner the prakriti will remain, but it will be less hurtful to others. And this the intentions of the non-self belong to the non-self, and they are not the intentions of the self. And if we become aware of the intentions of the non-self, then can we become free from it? And that happened, all the illusory attachment, sexuality and ego that happened in ignorance, that if we see that, will we become free from it? When will it bother you or cause problems for you? Only when you believe that they are yours. If you do not believe that they are yours, so they are happening to you, if you do not become tanmayakar or absorbed, then you will become, first, most important, recognize them. That they belong to Katya, they belong to Nada. They are not to you. It happened a while ago, and now you become fearful about it, or if you really project upon it, you just call it a filled stock only, and the experience is that it is a filled stock of Katya, and become free from it. It's discharging, and be done with it. So become strong yourself, increase your own awareness, increase, and they recognize that these are all vibrations of the mind only. But we just read that even the non-self is very energetic and very strong. No. That sentence, that last sentence we read this morning, Jud, is only there as long as the self has not been realized. After the realization of the self, you become separate, and therefore none of that energy of the non-self complex, the Jud energy, can affect you. Are you not having experience now that you are much better off than you were before Gnan Vidhi? That is the energy. Focus on that energy and understand that energy. And all of these circumstances by nature are dissipatory in nature. They dissociate, they are viyogi. And I am the knower of these circumstances. The circumstances come together and then they dissipate. But when I look at the past, she says, I feel that I'm again overwhelmed by it. No, but if you eat some food, you're drinking, and you're drinking tea for 40 years, can you not, but you cannot do without tea or coffee cup in the morning, can you not? No, I need it for in the morning, right? And sometimes you drink 2 cups, you see. And for so many years you're not, you see, you see, you see, when you throw a ball, you see, if when you fall, it will bounce 10 times, and if you throw it very hard, then it may bounce 99 times. Just continue to see what happened. Just continue to see what is happening to Katya by remaining the knower and the seer only. And next one. I have a prayer. And this morning, whatever I heard this morning, and then I felt that you have experienced the self completely and with authority. And now I'm moving in that direction. What is your state and what is the state of Deepak? I want to know, so that we can also be in the same way, because so that we can be in the same vision also. That is what we want to know. We just have to pray to Dada Bhagavan, Dada, let us do sit down by praying to the absolute pure soul within you, that my Lord, let me see it as it is. We will be doing magnificent samayik here, and through the grace of Dada, everything will all be moving in the fast track of moksha only. But the question is, the main self has got uh, the original self has got infinite locations because it is a thing, but the worldly interaction self has got limited locations. Then how can it be have its locations? Yes, for sure. The worldly interacting self has also got locations. There are limited number of human beings. There are limited number of animals, and then in the celestial beings there is countless celestial beings, and so but all of them are together in the countless, right? But beyond that is the energy of the self, that which is expressed through bodies is called countless, countable. Countable versus countless. Countable as human beings, countable as animal beings, countless as celestial beings. But these are all part of the countless one only, right? The countless one has expressed into the countable ones, you see. You see, those that have come in. So, the original recipe is the Dada only. We just have to follow it as it is, you see. So, the original recipes of Dada, and so we will.